Every night, in millions of Hindu households, a lamp is lit at sunset, not just for light, but as a boundary, a line drawn between the world of living and something much older, hungrier, and closer than you think. Hindu scriptures don't describe ghosts as vague shadows or Hollywood jump scares. They describe them in astonishing detail: what they eat, where they linger, and which exact doors of the house they enter through. Today we are opening a famous scripture called Garuda Purana, a scripture that literally has a chapter on the dead, and asking one uncomfortable question: could your own house already have a guest that never left? Before we talk about hauntings, we need to fix a mistranslation first. The English word ghost flattens at least four very different beings in Hindu text. Mixing them up is like confusing a stray cat with a wolf. Let's look at the four beings described in Garuda Purana. The first one, Preta. This is the most common one. A Preta is a soul stuck between death and its next destination, usually because the proper funeral rites were never completed for them. Not evil, just unfinished business according to the text. The second one, Pishacha, a far darker entity, described with bulging veins and burning red eyes. It is said to haunt cremation gowns, feeding on human flesh and vitality rather than food. The third one, Bhuta. This is the general household term often referred for a spirit lingering in specific places where someone died suddenly or violently. The fourth and final one, Vetala, a spirit that has taken possession of a corpse. Reference for this kind of spirit is often mentioned in the famous folk tales of King Vikramaditya. In Garuda Purana, specifically its second section, the Pretakhanda, literally the book of ghosts, it is framed as a dialogue between Lord Vishnu and his eagle vehicle called Garuda. It describes the afterlife completely in its various forms and aspects. According to the Pretakhanda, a soul doesn't just become a Preta at random. Two things trigger it. First, an unfinished life. The text names people who die with attachments still active, like greed, deception, betrayal, and broken promises, and so on. Their craving didn't just end with the body. Second, just as important as the first one, incomplete rites and ritual. Garuda Purana insists that a series of ritual must be performed at specific intervals of time and specific places after death. They are what actually release a soul forward. Skip them, and the text says plainly, the departed shall remain as Preta. There's a detail here that a lot of people miss. The scripture says these spirits don't feel malice towards strangers. They return specifically to their own family, their relatives, their descendants. Because that's the only place they can still be fed, remembered, and eventually released. It's less like haunted house and more like an unpaid debt that only your family can settle. This reframes everything, doesn't it? In this worldview, most so-called hauntings are not random at all. They are not random evil per se. They are relational. Here is where Garuda Purana gets more specific. This is the part where comment section is going to quote back at me. Text lists the disturbances that attributes to a Preta's presence in or around a home. Let's look at them one by one. The first symptom, recurring unexplained illness that doesn't respond to a treatment. A sudden uncharacteristic change in someone's temperament or behavior. Repeated quarrels, tension in the household with no clear cause. Setbacks in livelihood or a string of bad luck that won't break. Young children falling ill and that illness do not have a clear reason. Difficulty in getting pregnant for newly married couples with no specific medical reason or remedy. A complete loss of interest in faith, ritual, or routine. And then there is the dream chapter. Pretakhanda chapter 23, where text gets even more terrifying, I would say. It says, certain recurring dreams are Preta's way of signaling hunger or distress. Dreaming of a riderless horse, an elephant, a bull, or a person with a disfigured face. And also, dreaming these when you wake up on the wrong side of your own bed. Scripture reads this as not random anxiety, but as ancestors' way of demanding food through the dream world. Now pause here for a second, because this matters more than the spooky stuff. The Garuda Purana is also composed to guide families through the death and grief, not just as a diagnosed paranormal activity. Every single symptom on this list, illness, family distress, financial trouble, bad dreams, also has a complete ordinary explanation called physical and psychological absence of grief processing. We'll come back to that later anyway. Folk tradition layered on top of Puranas over centuries adds its own checklist. And this is the version most Indian families grew up hearing from grandparents, not scholars or textbook. Let's look at these checklists one by one. The first one, a cold pocket of air. In one specific spot of the house, especially near a threshold or a staircase, no matter the season, we can feel the chillness. A diya or lamp that won't stay lit in one particular room. Sesame oil or food offerings gone rotten or being disturbed overnight, and this is tied to the belief that the ancestral spirits are drawn to the smell of roasted sesame. Animals like dogs and cows, especially, refusing to enter a room or staring fixed at an empty corner. A recurring dream of the same deceased relative, appearing distressed or asking for something. Regional tradition, specifically in parts of South India, mentions an unexplained smell of burning near a doorway. Contrarily, in North India, a Preta is sometimes said to leave no shadow or reflection but just the burning smell. None of this is from the Vedic source or scriptures. It's the centuries of old tradition wrapped around the Vedic core. But it's worth knowing too, because it is the actual living folklore that not just a textbook version. Here is what is genuinely striking. The Garuda Purana is not a horror text. It is a resolution manual. Every disturbance it describes comes with a remedy, and none of them involve fear. They involve duty. The prescribed fix is the ritual offerings performed by their descendants, ideally at the sacred sites like Gaya, Haridwar or Kasi, releasing the soul from its Preta state into a company of ancestors, the Piturloka. Simpler home remedies appear too, lighting a lamp for the ancestors during Kartigai month, offering food to crows and Brahmins on No Moon Day. The following is actually repeated again and again in the text. That is, simply living with honesty and dharma also keeps the spirits away. Because the Purana claims a Preta is incapable of casting its spell or harm on a household that keeps its word, welcomes guests, and stays truthful. Notice the pattern here. The antidote to a ghost. In this tradition, it's never really a weapon. It's the remembrance of the deceased. So is your house haunted? Hindu scriptures would actually ask you a different question first. Has someone in your family has been forgotten? Whether you read Garuda Purana as literal metaphysics or one of humanity's oldest grief processing manuals, its real insight is not about spirits at all. It's the unresolved things, unfinished rituals, unspoken debts, people we stopped remembering. They don't just vanish, they linger in the house and within us until we deal with them properly. That's the truth. That doesn't need a ghost to be real. If this is the kind of deep dive you want from the actual text, not just folklore, is what you came here for, subscribe to Ask Mythology and give your support. And if you like this video, give a thumbs up, which will mean so much for us. See you in our next video to uncover the mysteries of mythology. Until then, keep the lamp lit, folks.